the meeting to order for September 22nd at 6:30 p.m. The invocation will be by Rick Boshoven from Trinity Memorial Lutheran Church.
Lord God, our Heavenly Father, we ask that your Holy Spirit would be among those here as they do this work for the citizens of Merrillville. Give them wisdom, guide them in the work that they do so that this community may thrive. Your grace be upon them, we pray that in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mr. Guernsey.
Span? Here. Hardaway?
Yeah.
Miano?
Here.
Barron?
Here.
Pettit?
Here.
Whiting? Browncheck?
Here, 6 present. Petitions, communications, remonstrations, acknowledgements. Anybody have anything? Consent agenda, accounts payable register voucher approval for September 22nd, 2015, and the approval of the town council meeting minutes for September 8th, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Miano, seconded by Mr. Pettit for the approval of the consent agenda. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Standing committees, budget and finance, Mr. Pettit.
Mr. President, just to Mr. Guernsey and Mr. Spires, the public hearing for the 2016 budget is scheduled for when, guys? Do we have a date?
Do we have a date? I don't know.
You don't know?
I know Diane has a date.
Get it from her.
Should be sometime in October, so probably the first meeting in October.
It generally is the first meeting in October.
Okay, that's all I have, Mr. President.
Anybody else under budget and finance? Seeing none, public works, Mr. Span.
I don't have anything. We got that tractor coming up on this today, right? The plow truck.
No, we're all good there.
I thought I read something on it.
There is one quick thing that came up. Community Development block grant funding. That'll be made available to us here toward mid to late October. As everyone I think is aware, this year's project is we're actually doing roughly around 144 ADA curb ramps throughout town. What I probably need for tonight, if somebody can make a motion to advertise for bid for this project, so when we're ready to go, we can go ahead and get started.
I make the motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Span, seconded by Mr. Hardaway for the approval of the going out for bid for the ADA compliance ramps. The money be coming from our CDGB funds. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Anything else?
President, back to budget and finance, and I apologize, ladies and gentlemen, for looking at the agenda this late. Ordinance 1524 is the budget ordinance. Has this been properly advertised? Because first reading on the budget is public hearing and public comment.
I would imagine if it's on the agenda,
It's on
I
the
mean,
agenda.
Diane usually takes care of the advertisement on
All
that.
right. So it is, we are starting our budget approval.
I don't see my pay raise.
Keep looking deeper. It ain't there.
Okay.
Anything else?
And that's all, Mr. President.
Okay, Council Affairs, Mrs. Miano.
No report.
Personnel Policy and Employee Benefits, Mr. Pettit.
No report.
Public Safety, Mr. Whiting. Anybody have anything under Public Safety? Parks and Recreations, Mrs. Miano.
I have no report, Ms. Jan.
No report this evening.
Environmental Affairs, Matt, do you have anything?
Yeah, just a couple of things. We had the erosion control workshop. It was a lunch and learn, and we had full attendance at that workshop, so we had to actually turn people away, which was nice. Area Outdoors continuing to do maintenance on Taney Ditch. Gatlin's going to be starting on construction on the 53rd Court Drainage Improvements Project next week. And the plans are done for Ross Meadow Farms, the drainage improvement project there. And we're doing some value engineering right now to bring some of that cost down. So that's all I have.
Anybody else under environmental affairs? Seeing none, elections and public relations, Mrs. Miano.
I have no report.
Economic.
President, under Mrs. Miano's committee, Joe, tell the FOP an absolute fantastic job Saturday night for the Nick Schultz fundraiser. Carol and I were out there. They did a phenomenal job once again. Saw some of the family members out there as well. They had the motorcycle ride, which I think was a huge success. So kudos to the FOP.
And I got something. We, last week when we had the memorial service for Nick Schultz, the Merrillville High School choir came. And so I feel we should give them a donation as we do for everybody else that comes to do something for the town, because years ago I was president of the Band Boosters, and it takes a lot of money for those groups in order to sustain themselves. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion that we donate $500 to the choir, Merrillville High School choir, to their fund for.
You want that to come out of town donation?
It should come out of town donations. That's my motion.
Motion by Mr. Hardaway for the approval of a $500 donation to the Merrillville choir, seconded by Mr. Pettit to come out of town donations. Any other comment or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Anything else under economic development, Mr. Pettit?
We had an RDC meeting prior to this, Mr. President, and approved a engineering contract for Snyder Corporation to begin designing 98th Avenue out of the Merrillplex at the crossroads.
Anything else? See none, utility liaison, Mrs. Barron.
No report.
Abandoned properties, Mr. Hardaway.
Meeting tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock.
General ordinances, first reading, an ordinance 15-23, an ordinance of the town of Merrillville, Lake County, Indiana, appropriating additional monies within the police donation fund of the town of Merrillville, Lake County, Indiana, for the year of 2015, not included in the current budget.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pettit, seconded by Mrs. Miano for the approval of ordinance 15-23. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, Mr. Guernsey.
Span.
Yes.
Hardaway.
Yeah.
Miano.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Pettit.
Yes.
Groncheck.
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Ordinance 15-24. Be an ordinance resolved by the town of Merrillville that for the expenditure of the Merrillville Civil Court for the year ending December 31st, 2016, the sums herein specified are hereby appropriated and ordered set apart out of several funds herein named, and for the purpose of herein specified, subject to the laws governing the same. Such sums herein appropriated shall be held to include all expenditures authorized to be made during the year, unless otherwise expressed, stipulated, and provided for by law. In addition, for the purpose of raising revenue to meet the necessary expenditures of the Merrillville Civil Court and the property tax levies and the property tax rates as herein specified are included herein. Budget Form 4B for all funds must be completed and submitted in the manner prescribed by the Department of Local Finance. This ordinance resolution shall be in full force in effect from and after its passage and approval by the town of Merrillville.
Motion approved.
Second for discussion, Mr. President.
Motion by Mr. Span, seconded by Mr. Pettit for the approval of ordinance 15-24. Questions?
Well, I guess just for public knowledge, this is a $20,152,420 budget for 2016. Tax levies are, and I know Chaz and Karen are probably writing it down. Tax levies are $14,475,722, with an adopted rate of approximately 0.9649 cents. And of course, this is first reading, Mr. President. This is public hearing.
Okay. I need to open it up for public hearing then. At this time, I'm going to open up for public hearing ordinance 15-24. Anybody have any comment on ordinance 15-24? Any public comment on ordinance 15-24? Seeing none at this time, I'll close the public hearing on ordinance 15-24. Any other discussion amongst the council? Seeing none, roll call vote, Mr. Guernsey.
Span,
Yes.
Hardaway,
Yeah.
Miano,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Pettit,
Yes.
Geralcheck.
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Ordinance 15-25, an ordinance of the town of Merrillville, Lake County, Indiana, appropriating additional monies within the police equipment fund of the town of Merrillville, Lake County, Indiana, for the year of 2015, not included in the current budget.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Pettit, seconded by Mr. Span for the approval of ordinance 15-25. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, Mr. Guernsey.
Span,
Yes.
Hardaway,
Yeah.
Miano,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Pettit,
Yes.
Geralcheck.
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Second readings, ordinance 15-18 is this ordinance of the town of Merrillville, Indiana, prohibiting the sale or use gun-shaped cell phone cases and establish a penalty for the violations.
Motion approved.
Motion by Mr. Span, seconded by Mrs. Miano for the approval of 15-18. Any discussion?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I just feel that if we want to really pursue banning such an item as a cell phone case that is in shape of a gun, we really need to contact our federal legislators so we don't make it to where we just can't sell it in the town of Merrillville. It needs to be illegal to be brought into the country if that's what we need to pursue. There is a federal law that's already on the books, and it's called the orange tip. You can't sell it, you can't bring it into the country if it doesn't have the tip. All they need to do is just amend the federal law, and then that will fit into that category, and it will be a federal crime to if you do purchase that and you are caught carrying it. This is something that we can't enforce because I've asked. Not only have I asked, but I've had different people from different communities look and ask in search of this cell phone case. What I did find, however, was this. Looks pretty real, doesn't it? Looks more real than that gun case. I don't know who we're trying to protect with the gun case law because it doesn't shoot, it doesn't fire. If somebody does get out of their car and they do have that on them and a police officer says, stop, put it on the ground, and they don't do it, they don't comply, and they get shot, well, then it's a problem because the police officer is only protecting himself. And if his life feels threatened, then he has the right to do so. So I just think that working with our federal legislators on laws that work for everybody that's in the United States and every community is a lot better than us trying to enforce something that somebody from Hobart or somebody from Crown Point or somebody from Cherville or somebody from Couts or somebody from downstate Indy can, if they can buy those cases, they buy them. And you can't stop them from bringing them into Merrillville. We're not a gated community. So I don't know where we're going with this ordinance.
I'd like to comment on this, if I can, please. This gun case cell phone is very extremely real. It does not have an orange point on it.
It doesn't,
unfortunately.
because it's not put into the ordinance, or it's not put into the federal law.
You let her talk, Chris?
Sure.
Thank you. This is a protection. It's a protection against our children. Again, as I said in the workshop, There are so many children that want to be, as the old saying goes, cool. They want to be the first to have something like this. In a crowded area, if there is police on the scene, and one kid will pull out their cell phone just to call or take a picture, it does resemble a gun. This ordinance protects our town, our police officers, and especially the children in our community.
No,
That's all I have to say.
I will follow up again on that, because if I slide that into here and I go to use this to take a picture, this doesn't fire anything. It's you can't load it. You can't fire it. And there again, you're telling a parent or a child what they can have or what they can't have in their home or on their persons.
I think we're making it aware of to the parents what is available out there to their children.
Well, it's just another saggy pants ordinance, that's all.
I'd like to say something. One morning, I was looking out my bedroom window, and I saw two kids on the railroad tracks. One had a gun such as that, and I think it was a BB gun or something, shooting at the other kid. And I didn't know if it was a real gun, but I figured it wasn't, because what would a kid be doing with a weapon like that? So the other kid starts throwing rocks. The guy shoot, he throw a rock. The guy shoot, he throw a rock. I called 911. And this officer came over. I pointed to where they were. He snuck around the cul-de-sac, went in between the houses, called them both over, took them to their parents. And I had a little discussion with him. I says, hey man, what if you shot the kid's eye out? It's only a BB gun, but the kid could have one eye. It says, I would never let my kids go outside shooting at other kids with a toy gun, But my thing is I like to be proactive with things and not reactive. And I like the approach of being proactive. So I'm in favor of it.
One question, John, for you. What impact is this going to have on the Second Amendment rights of people to bear arms?
In my opinion, none, because the town has the authority to regulate public safety matters such as this, and you actually have other ordinances on the books that I mentioned that are not identical but similar that I mentioned at the workshop that we had last month, such as ordinances that prohibit sale of certain types of knives to children as a safety ordinance, and there are other ordinances already in the Merrillville Code.
I understand that.
Like this.
My question, but in the state of Indiana, you are allowed to carry a weapon if you're licensed.
That's correct.
And I'm just trying to figure out what impact. I just want to make sure that we're not infringing on somebody's civil rights, and with the Second Amendment that says that if we stop some kid for having this, then now we're saying, and this kid says that, okay, if my dad can carry his gun and I can't carry this, I just want to make sure that when somebody decides to sue us, and somebody's going to, what's going to happen?
That's an appropriate question, but in my opinion, such a suit, if filed, wouldn't be successful because this ordinance does not regulate weapons or guns, possibly infringing, Councilman, on Second Amendment rights. This ordinance regulates look-alike
I understand.
items, specifically gun-shaped cell phone cases, not a weapon itself.
I'm just raising the question because I was speaking to somebody that didn't live in our community. They were from outside, and when this conversation came up, and the person asked me, how
It's an appropriate question for discussion.
But I just want to make sure, because as sure as my name is Richard Hardaway, somebody's going to say, I can't believe that these guys are prohibiting me from carrying this. And
well, is this a two-phase issue, John? I'm listening to Chrissy, and I understand exactly what Carol wants to do. Okay, this ordinance And keep in mind, folks, an ordinance is a law, a resolution is a policy, and I'll get to that in a minute. The ordinance says that none of the retailers within the boundaries of the town of Merrillville can sell these cell phone cases. That's the way I read this law. Is that correct, John?
That's correct.
Okay, now, I think what we need to do is have Mr. Buscemi then develop a resolution that says we will also not let them carry them. This is about selling it. They can get it on the internet and they can carry it on their on their belt if they have the orange tip. We send that resolution over to Pete's office and let our federal legislator say, this is not only do we not want the merchant selling it, we don't want them carrying it by resolution. It's a policy decision, right, John?
We already sent the resolution, and I have a copy from the congressman's office here. I was going to read it into the record.
A month and a half ago.
Did we sent a resolution?
Yes, and I have a response from him.
What did he say?
I was going to read it into the record. Thank you, Tom, for contacting me, expressing your concerns regarding the import and sale of gun-shaped iPhone cases. I appreciate hearing from you. I share your concerns. As you know, gun-shaped iPhone cases have recently become available for sale at online retailers. Press reports have indicated that the iPhone cases originated from a Chinese manufacturer, Gizmo Gallery. Several police departments have publicly condemned the product and have advised consumers against purchasing them. Additionally, the legality of the iPhone case has been called into question by both police departments and elected officials, citing PL 100-615, the Federal Energy Management Improvement Act, which prohibits the manufacture, sale, or reception of any look-alike or imitation firearm unless the firearm contains a visible orange mark at the end of the barrel to identify it as harmless. I would point out two of the largest online retailers, Amazon and eBay, have stated that they will prohibit the future sale of gun-shaped iPhone cases on their respective websites. To address your concerns regarding the importance of gun-shaped iPhone cases, I have taken the liberty to forward a copy of the correspondence to the U.S. Customs and Border Control, Richard Gill Kurlowski. As you may be aware, the U.S. Customs and Border is the law enforcement agency responsible for enforcing the U.S. regulation in trade and international commerce. Enclosed, please find a copy of my cover letter to the Commissioner requesting that he address your concerns. Be assured that I will let him know when I receive a response. Thank you again for contacting me. Don't hesitate to let me know if you have any other questions or concerns.
Okay, so Pete stepped up and did his job.
Right.
I think we go back to the ordinance then of the actual sale, Carol, within the merchants, and we're making that against Merrillville law. So now the merchants will know, some of these gas stations, or they have all the tchotchkes and stuff, and
That's right.
I'm perfectly fine with that.
But let me get this straight. But now with that letter being read like it was, and Pete absolutely positively stepping up to the plate, they can't sell them. They can't bring them in the United States.
It's not what the letter said.
Okay. So I was just making clear of that.
He asked at the request of the town of Merrillville that the U.S. Customs Office look into possibly blocking in the future the import of the gun-shaped cell phone cases.
I know when you try to get that off eBay, you put down your address in the United States, they won't sell it to you.
But that's the action that Congressman Viscoski took at your request, because you passed a resolution asking him to deal with U.S. Customs with respect to this problem. This proposed local ordinance is related to that, but it's a different issue.
But again, if we prohibit the sale within the Merrillville corporate limits, but they have it on their person through the internet, and one of Joe's guys walks up to them, this ordinance is also enforceable by possession.
Yeah, it's sale or use. So possession is included in use. That's correct.
Okay,
that's in
so again,
section 10-42, sale or use.
Back to Rich's question and concern of what is the, I didn't buy it in Merrillville. I got it online, and now you're going to tell me that I can't have this thing. And With all due respect, guys, we've been down this road before with the rental registration. We ended up having to repeal this, and believe me, you know,
And here's one other
it's
question.
sad that we've got to waste taxpayers' time and money
Exactly.
talking about this on the dais, quite frankly.
But here's-
parents need to parent,
here's
Rich,
my
and I
question,
know you
Sean.
agree with that.
I agree with everything you said,
You know?
but here's my question. I don't live in Merrillville, and so I live in Sherrville, and I'm just passing through, and I get stopped for having this thing. I'm not a Merrillville resident, so I'm not familiar with maybe Merrillville's laws. So now what's going to happen? Now that's where the
You
problem
get a
comes
ticket.
in, because I don't live here, and either it's got to be a law for just Merrillville residents, or it's got to be a law for everybody that comes down 73rd Avenue or US 30 or Broadway or wherever. It's got to be a law for everybody. But
Well,
if I don't live here,
Then
and
take it.
and I'm not familiar with it, what are you doing to me?
Let's take it to the middle step then. We've done it locally, or we're trying to do it locally. We've contacted Pete. I think something needs to be sent to Vernon Smith and take it to the General Assembly in the short session and make them illegal in Indiana. Then you don't have to worry about what border you're going through, Hobart, Merrillville,
Exactly.
Sherrville, Crown Point, and it's done and over with.
But that's
In the state of Indiana audit, you make them illegal.
And that's what we should do then.
You
I
know,
agree with
I mean, we could pass this tonight, and I'll vote for it. But I think the next step is we need to send it to Representative Smith, and we need to take it to the next. I mean, you've got a good point, Rich. You know, you don't know all the I don't know the Sherrville ordinances,
Right,
and I used to work there.
right.
Oh, I don't know.
I just think we need to follow a chain, and we need to start working as a whole unit with all of our elected officials to get things done to secure that they're done better. I feel because somebody's got one of these cases and like you said, they get pulled over, and you're going to give them a ticket. You make this illegal to be brought or bought into the United States or be imported into the United States, and you have one of those on you, that's a federal offense. Your butt's going to jail.
Well, we have another instance, though, if I'm not mistaken, Joe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do we still have the loud music ordinance?
Yeah.
Okay, there's another one that if I'm from Highland and I'm driving down 73rd Avenue and I'm stopped at 73rd and Broadway and I'm blasting my bass and all of a sudden the cop pulls me over, I didn't know you guys had a loud music ordinance.
Yeah, a lot of communities have loud
everybody
music
does.
ordinance.
Well, it's
Everybody
still,
does.
I don't know that.
I mean, we can do whatever. I just want us to look at everything as we approach this thing, one way or the other. And if we need to send something to Vernon Smith, let's send something to Vernon Smith, Earlene Rogers, Charlie Brown, and everybody else, Hal Slater and everybody. Let's send something to everybody, and let's say that we don't. It's not a problem, but we want to take a proactive approach and address this, and we're looking for.
And we could be the community that steps out
Exactly.
and does that.
We're looking
I mean,
for.
I know Carol in the workshop you mentioned Chicago looked at this, did they not?
Yes, they did.
Okay, so we're on the Indiana side.
And there's many across the country, many largest cities. The states, New York is one of them. They have been passing this throughout the state, throughout the boroughs. I mean, it sounds like we're hoping and pressuring and hoping that we get more imports into this country by this. We should be stopping the imports no matter,
But we
anything
can't.
like this.
We can as a whole with the state and with our federal legislators.
Then you know what? Tomorrow I will start that procedure. I won't
There
be
you
able to
go.
make it to your meeting though, but I will definitely start that procedure tomorrow. I will
We have
contact
to work
our
together
senators.
with all of our legislative bodies because that's what we're here for.
Call for the
We're
vote,
not
Mr.
here
President.
to
Yeah, call for
run
the vote,
rampant and run
please.
wild.
Okay, at this time,
Wonder what- how it
15-18 is a second reading ordinance, so we have to open it up for public comment. At this time, we're going to open it up for public comment on 15-18. Anybody have any public comment on 15-18? Seeing no public comment, roll call vote, Mr. Guernsey.
Span,
Yes.
Hardaway,
I'm probably going to abstain.
abstain. Okay. Miano,
Yes.
Barron,
No.
Pettit,
Yes.
Browncheck.
Yes, motion carries. 4-1 to 1 abstention. Ordinance 15-20 is as amended discussion. An ordinance of the town of Ordinance of the Town Council of the Town of Merrillville, Indiana to amend the municipal code governing waste haulers, scavengers, and scrappers.
I motion to approve.
Motion for approval for ordinance 15-20,
Second.
seconded by Mrs. Miano for the approval of ordinance 15-20. Any discussion? At this time, I'll open it up for public comment on ordinance 15-20. Any public comment on ordinance 15-20? Any public comment on ordinance 15-20? There was a correction in there for the times on that. Was that corrected?
Yes, you're voting on the amended version, which was amended by the council at its meeting August 25th. And the specific amendment with respect to time of day is found on page 4 at section 8-33. You've limited the activity to Monday through Thursdays from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Monday through Thursday?
I'm sorry, Monday through Saturday.
Right.
Monday through what?
Mondays
Saturday.
through Saturdays, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
That's for
Was the specific
It's
amendment.
considering the garbage pickup if they have to work on a Saturday or
Right,
whatever. So-
yeah, right,
But they don't have a Sunday pickup, so
right.
they usually don't work on Sundays anyway. At this time, I'll open it up for public comment. Seeing no public comment on 15-20. Roll call vote, Mr. Guernsey?
Span,
Yes.
Hardaway,
Yeah.
Miano,
Yes.
Barron,
Nope.
Pettit,
Yes.
Rowcheck.
Yes, motion carries 5-1. Ordinance 15-21, as amended, an ordinance of the Town Council of the Town of Merrillville to amend the municipal code governing peddlers and solicitors.
Motion approved.
Motion by Mr. Span for the
Second.
approval of 15-21, seconded by Mrs. Miano. Any discussion?
That's got the 10-3 in there, right?
Yes, also on August 25th, the council amended this ordinance, councilman, and limited the operation, this activity to Mondays through Fridays only, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Thank you.
At this time, I'll open it up for public comment. Ordinance 15-21. Anybody have any public comment on 15-21? Any public comment on 15-21? Seeing none, roll call vote, Mr. Guernsey.
Span,
Yes.
Hardaway,
Yeah.
Miano,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Pettit,
Yes.
Rowcheck.
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Ordinance 15-22, an ordinance of the Town Council of the Town of Merrillville, Indiana, appropriating additional monies within the motor vehicle fund for the year of 2015, not included in the current budget.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pettit, seconded by Mr. Hardaway, for the approval of 15-22. At this time, I'll open it up for public comment on ordinance 15-22. Any public comment on ordinance 15-22? Seeing no public comment on ordinance 15-22, roll call vote, Mr. Guernsey.
Span,
Yes.
Hardaway,
Yeah.
Miano,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Pettit,
Yes.
and Rowcheck.
Yes, motion carries 6-0. There are no resolution. BZA action is the petitioner James Steriofsky. Owner is James Steriofsky. Request for a variance for the use of approval to allow a digital LED message center on a billboard sign for a two-sided 10 by 5 by 36, 381.6 square feet tri-wave and or digital message center for off-premise advertising. Location is 7200 Broadway. Zoning is C3 Highway Commercial. Case number is 16UV5-0515.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we uphold the BZA
Recommended denial.
recommendation at this time. They denied it.
Motion is for a denial of the BZA action, case number 16-V5-0515. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second for the denial.
Mr. President, at this time, I'm going to declare a conflict of interest and abstain from the vote.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, Mr. Guernsey.
Hardaway?
Yeah.
You forgot.
Sorry. I must have been. All right. I'm sorry.
You can go back and get him now.
Okay. Span?
Yeah.
Miano?
Yes.
Barron?
Yes.
Grawcheck?
Yes. And motion carries 5-0 with one abstention. Old business. Anybody have anything under old business? No old business. New business. Anybody have anything under new business?
Bruce, can you introduce the intern? Or did you introduce the intern?
Oh, I introduced him the most.
Okay.
But I believe Daniel is with us from Purdue University, Calumet. He's a major in political science and history. Daniel started with us a week ago. He's going to be working eventually with the abandoned buildings ordinance and getting those activities up and running. But in the meantime, he's helping me. We're getting our road inventory all updated because we've accepted there were some and a lot more streets this year, and there's a couple smaller subdivisions that still need to be added to the inventory. So we're in the process of doing that, and if we still have time, we're going to move over to our ADA compliance plan and do some updating on that before he goes over to that.
Thank you.
Else under new business? Seeing none. At this time, I'll open it up for public comment. Anybody have any public comment? Anybody have any public comment?
Hi, Mike.
Okay, step up to the microphone, please. Okay, that's enough time. I'm sorry. No.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Bromley. I was just introduced, obviously. I live at 5785 Jackson Street, Mr. Whiting's ward. Certainly not my place to tell you how to do your job. But regarding my thoughts on the resolution that was recently passed regarding the gun-shaped cell phone cases, regarding the Second Amendment, I don't think that's going to be a big issue.
Okay.
But you might want to consider a resolution to let travelers running through off of the warning. If that's policy and not law, it might just be wiser for the sake of avoiding litigation.
You don't understand. When we pass an ordinance, it's an ordinance saying, in other words, we don't accept that in town. But our police department understands if someone's driving through town, they're not going to write them a ticket. These guys understand this is a local ordinance for a local community. It is basically, it's set up. We don't want our kids carrying this thing in town. So, our policemen use common sense, and that's a common sense ordinance. And that's what the ordinance is for. It's not through, if you're driving through Chicago and they have that ordinance in Chicago, I guarantee you're not going to get it passed in Chicago because it's a different society up there. But here, it's, we understand if you're passing through, and you're a clean cut, you're not causing trouble, you'll get it passed to our police department. I guarantee it.
Trying to be helpful.
Oh, that's good. I understand that.
Thanks, Dan.
And that's what most people are going to, yeah, that's going to be a common thing.
Announcements: abandoned, blighted properties. Committee meeting is September 23rd, 2015, 11 a.m. Board of Zoning Appeals meeting is September 23rd, 2015 at 6:30 p.m. Police Commission meeting is October 2nd, 2015 at 8 a.m. Stormwater Management Board meeting is October 6th at 4:30 p.m. Plan Commission workshop is October 6th at 6:30 p.m. Town Council meeting is October 13th at 6:30 p.m. Any other announcements?
We got the workshop on October the 13th at 5:30 to discuss the final for that transmission shop down there.
Okay.
For that rendering.
we want to bring in the owner, Tom, as opposed to just keep hearing from
from the tenants?
from the lady.
Okay. And you want to do that
5:30 on the 13th, prior to the next council meeting.
Okay.
All right.
And Councilman, did you want to remind the other council members about this specific discussion that'll be held
Tomorrow,
at the committee meeting tomorrow at 11?
every 5:30. I mean 11 o'clock. I'm thinking 5:30. Everything's on my mind. 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. We're going to light and abandoned buildings meeting to take a look at some proposals. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and second, we're adjourned.
Who seconded it?